Hello and welcome to episode 13 of VGN Weekly for September 10th, 2024. As always, we will recap the past week's Virtual Grip Network race broadcasts and bring you in-depth interviews with your favorite drivers, league owners, commentators, and more. Please like and subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of the broadcasts. If you are a league owner and you have a broadcasting need, please visit us at virtualgrip.net for info on how to get in touch with us. Welcome again to the show. I'm Lowell Jewell, filling in for John Hine. I'm here with producer Ryan Seneker, and we thank you for tuning in. Today's guest is longtime Bootleg Racing League member Joe Segalla. But before we get to our interview, let's go to Ricky Harden with this week's recaps.
The Bootleg Racing League's Outlaw SK Modified Invitational Series made its debut at Oswego Speedway with just 2 races left in Season 36. Todd Liston entered with a narrow 5-point lead over Donnie Moore in the championship standings. Jeffrey Harden started from the pole, holding off early pressure from Steven Spies. As the race settled in, Spies briefly lost second place to Kurt Smith before regaining it and closing back in on Harden. Further back in the field, Bruce Pearson, Todd Liston, John Wilson, and Ricky Harden all worked their way forward, but the laps were counting down quickly as they all tried to close the gap on Jeffrey Harden. With no cautions to bunch up the field, Spies had to turn up the pressure on the back bumper of Jeffrey Harden and try to wrestle the lead away. Spies made several attempts to get alongside Harden for that top spot, but Spies wasn't able to complete the pass. Ultimately, Jeffrey Harden took home the win, followed by Steven Spies in second. Todd Liston, the championship leader, ended up finishing 4th, extending his point lead to 9 points over Donnie Moore with just 1 race to go in the season. Next up, the Late Model Stock Car Invitational Series set off for their maiden voyage at Oswego Speedway. The Bootleg Racing League delivered a thrilling race. Scott Negus would start from the tail of the field due to a penalty incurred in the previous week, and it would be Tom Hilbert taking the early lead from the pole, while Donnie Moore and John Wilson overtook Jeffrey Harden, only for a caution to fly on lap 2 and reset the field. Hilbert held the lead after the restart, but by lap 35, Wilson grabbed the top spot with Harden moving into second. The yellow flag would fly on lap 62 when the boss man, Lowell Jewell, got pointed in the wrong direction on the back straightaway. The modified winner, Jeffrey Harden, would suffer the same fate just a few laps later. On lap 82, in what I would call the move of the race, Scott Negus and John Wilson came together off of turn 2 when Wilson was in a fierce battle with Todd Liston and appeared to try to force his way in line while Negus was already having a nose to the inside. The 29 machine was able to get on the brakes and avoid catastrophe, but by doing so dropped from 4th to 9th position. Steven Spies maintained the lead late in the race, followed by championship contenders Todd Liston in second and John Wilson in third, who in those running positions would have been tied for the championship lead heading into the season finale. But on lap 88, disaster occurred when contact from Wilson into the back bumper of Todd Liston spun the 87 car into the wall, all but ending his championship hopes. A series of cautions set up a green-white checkered finish, and it was Spies and Negus restarting for the final time on the front row. Scott Negus would settle in behind Spies on the penultimate lap before setting up the 55 car on the final lap to take the lead in his first BRL late model victory of the season, with Spies finishing second and Ruben Altiz rounding out the podium.
now I'd like to welcome to the show BRL racer and backup race controller, Joe Segalla. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Let's get started with where are you from and where do you reside now?
Well, I was born in Rockford, Illinois. It's about 2 hours, let's see, west of Chicago. Um, I live in Loves Park, which is basically the next door neighbor to Rockford. So I'm still in the area. Lived in this area my entire life. Um, Loved going to Rockford Speedway when I was a kid. It's our local track. Unfortunately, it is shut down now. Um, and still live there or still live in Loves Park to this day.
Okay, speaking of Rockford, my next question is how did you become a fan of racing in general?
When I was a kid, my dad worked at Mahler Pioneers, and a friend of his by the name of Bobby Davis raced late models out the Speedway. And so that's how we started going out there as a family. And then come to find out, my brother's auto shop teacher was also a late model driver out there, and his name was Jim Reynolds. And he would let his class work on his race car. So that's how he got started and everything. And we were out there every Saturday night. And my earliest memory of being at the Speedway, after the races were over, we went back into the pit area. And I can't remember which driver, if it was Bobby or if it was Jim that my family was talking to, but I had completely wandered off and came across another driver's pit area by the name of Tom Guiley. And I remember just looking at his late model. It was an Oldsmobile, and it looked so cool to me with all of its battle wounds and everything on it. And he asked me if I wanted to get in the car. Well, I'm a 6-year-old kid, so yeah, of course I want to get in the car.
Of course, yeah.
So he picks me up, puts me in there, and pops the steering wheel on for me. And I was just having a blast in his car, and kept an eye on my family, watched where they were at. When they noticed that I was gone, that's when I started screaming at them to, come over to where I was at. And that was just the coolest experience for me. And that's really where I fell in love with racing. And wanted to be a stock car driver ever since, but it just wasn't meant to be.
So whatever happened, is Rockford now closed? Has it been sold or what's going on there?
There's all sorts of rumors about it. So far, the only thing that's confirmed is that it is shut down. They have started tearing down grandstands and other things around the track. The track itself is still there as of right now, but you can tell that they've already started construction and smoothing out the area, getting ready to build something there. I don't know what's going to be going up there. This area is obsessed with strip malls, so as far as I know, it could be another strip mall going up there.
Yeah, it seems to happen to a lot of short tracks all over the country. Sometimes it's a matter of fans not putting their butts in the seats and supporting the tracks, but I think most of the time it's money, it's real estate, and it's a shame. Do you have any idea if iRacing ever got out there to scan it?
As far as I know, no, they didn't, and it's a real shame. I mean, I know that um, we wouldn't be gaining a huge amount by getting the track. I mean, it is a high banked quarter mile track, not as high banked as Slinger, but still high banked. It also has a figure eight in it as well, which we would have benefited from that. The track is extremely rough, extremely bumpy. It would have been another track that was a high line groove track. Um, so, I mean, it would have been a very, very challenging track for all of us, and I think it would have been a lot of fun for us to race on.
Yeah, it would have been a great option. It sounds like. How did you find your way into sim racing?
Well, I go as far back as the old Indy 500 game from the 80s. My cousin got me into that, and I played that even up until computers went into the Windows 95 era. And then I got into NASCAR racing by Papyrus. Um, played those. I wasn't very good at any of them, I'll be honest. But setting up the races to watch the races was also very cool on those. So I did a little bit of driving and also some watching as well. Um, and then got into console games in the early 2000s. The EA NASCAR games were fairly decent. And then, of course, when they went out, there was nothing. And I found out about iRacing. I want to say it was either 2009 or 2010. I can't remember which year it was, but they were sponsoring a NASCAR Cup car, and that's when I first heard about them and started checking them out. And at the time, I was married, and we didn't have a lot of money, and so I couldn't get on iRacing back then. Didn't have the internet availability for it and stuff. Um, then in 2016, I got divorced and got another job. I'd gotten a job in security, which I can only talk about this now because I'm not going to get fired from it now. But it was a very, very boring job. And so we had computer and internet access, and my station, we had three computer screens. So I would have
Yeah,
my cameras.
I see where this is going, Jeff.
I'd have my cameras up on one screen that I'm supposed to be keeping an eye on, my alarms that I'm supposed to keep an eye on my center screen, and then on my right screen, hidden from the cameras that keep an eye on me, I would put up YouTube and look for all kinds of iRacing broadcasted races. And it's actually how I came across the Bootleg Racing League through that. I kept finding a bunch of NASCAR stuff, and it's not what I wanted to see. If I wanted to watch NASCAR, I'd watch that on real TV. I wanted to see something different, short tracks, and that's what BRL provided. And so, even if I didn't get to watch BRL live, the next day that I worked, it was on my screen that night, and I got to go back and watch a lot of the older broadcasts and stuff like that. And so in 2018, I finally made the decision that it was time to go racing, and so I spent $2,000 on a computer, 2 year subscription, wheel, the works, and off we went.
It happens to everybody. I have some stats. Your very first race at Bootleg Racing League was April 27th, 2019. That was a street stock at New Smyrna. You remember that?
I do. I also remember how nervous I was for that race. I only really had one goal in that race. Well, I should say two goals. The first one was to not make an idiot of myself, and two, to gain the respect of the other drivers. I figured before I tried being competitive and going for wins, I felt that was the most important thing to do first.
I don't know where they went, but I missed the days of sitting on the grid waiting for the cars to roll off and butterflies, getting nervous. I missed those days.
Yeah, when you do it as long as we have, the only time I get that is when I'm starting on the pole and we're at a track that I really feel like I have a shot at getting a really good finish at. Of course, I don't know what it is, but it always seems to happen. I could lead more than half the race or almost all of it, and then something always seems to happen at the end, and I just can't bring home that victory sometimes.
Yeah. You also at BRL, you have the third most starts with 1,503 starts. You remember all of those?
I don't remember every single one of them, but I tell you what, it sure doesn't feel like that many. Uh,
Yeah. You
I
got
can't.
more races than I got. Some of the old timers. Uh, that's a pretty good participation rate right there.
Well, I mean, I love bootleg so much that it's one of those. It's got to be something really big to keep me away from it. You know, kids have got something going on. Usually, that's what keeps me away. But yeah, something major like that. That's got to keep me away from racing.
Yeah. In those 1,500 starts, you have 29 wins. and you were the season 29 SK Modified Invitational Series champion. And I failed to write down what year that was. Hadn't been that long ago because I think we're in the 30s now as far as seasons go.
Yeah, and I do remember that season. That was a very unique season, if I remember right. That was our first time going to Friday nights for that series, and at the time, I don't think it was televised yet, because we still had. I don't remember if we had switched to the late miles on Saturdays or if we were still with the Grand National car. Um, but we hadn't been televising the SKs that season, and it was a good season for me that year. I remember it didn't start off real well. I think like third race, I had a top five going, and um, I think a lap car got into me with about 5 laps to go, and I ended up getting a bad finish for that one, which really set me back. So I'm kind of surprised I won it that year.
I'm surprised you can remember that.
I
uh,
always remember the really bad stuff.
yeah, yeah. Well, congratulations on that. Championships are hard to come by at BRL. My one and only was, well, in the iRacing era. My one and only was 2015, I think. But anyway, that'll just get me upset. Let's talk about your involvement with Loose Lugs racing team. How did that come about?
Actually, I've been well. Jeff Harden and I, we've been together pretty much almost since as long as I've been with Bootleg. It wasn't too long after I joined Bootleg. He had a special event going on, and I got involved with that. And then a short time after that, I was helping him paint some of his cars. And then he invited me to be a teammate of his at the team that he was with, Simcrow. And so we worked together there. And those were a good group of guys. They taught me a lot about driving on the Sim 2. And they helped get me better. And then when that fell apart, Jeff and I, we just stayed friends, and whether officially or unofficially, we've kind of always been teammates.
And you spoke about car painting. You've done a lot of that. I see your cars all over trading paints, and I've also seen where you've painted a lot of series cars. How'd you get involved in that?
Uh, Kind of by accident. It just started off. I was just painting my own cars, and then when iRacing did the AI stuff, or was starting to do the AI stuff, um, I know I could put my own collections together, but like, especially when it came to the street stocks at the time, we only had the Camaro, and people are putting like the modern day nose piece Camaro on those like old late 70s, early 80s Camaro body, which just didn't look right. They were putting Toyota decals on it, which just looked horrible. And it's just like, okay, if I'm going to make a field, then we got to make this look a little bit more realistic.
I've never
Uh,
heard of a Camry that wanted to be a Camaro,
exactly.
or the other way around.
Exactly. So I managed to find some really cool decals. There was a Ford Mustang one. Uh, it it wasn't great, but it fit on this Camaro fairly decently. Like looked like it was kind of meant to be on there, and so that worked out pretty good for the Mustang. And then of course the Firebird ones worked out really well because that's pretty much what a Firebird is, as a Camaro. And so I basically just went those three decals and started off from there, and it just kind of progressed really. And so yeah, now I got like full fields. NASCAR style cars are the easiest to make. I can't copy exactly what the NASCAR Cup car or Xfinity or truck looks like, so it's kind of more like my design inspired by the actual vehicle. And in fact, I'm actually working on another field of cars now. I just got done with Legends, which are all uploaded, and now I'm working on street stocks, and then I'll work on the mini stocks and uh, SKs and late models, and SRX I think is the last one that I want to do.
That that sounds like a hobby in and of itself.
It pretty much is, but
Yeah,
it's very cool to see my paint schemes all across iRacing. Every once in a while, just for the heck of it, I'll jump into an official, and it's very cool. You jump into a practice session, and I see like 8 or 10 of my paint schemes out there. Uh,
that
Very
would
cool
be
to
cool.
see.
Yeah. What is your at iRacing? What's your favorite car?
That's a tough one. I think as far as the short track cars go, I want to say late models, right up there with one of my favorites. Uh, the NASCAR vehicles, it's a toss up between the truck and the Xfinity car. Um, but I mean, really, I like driving all of them except for the next gen Cup car. That's like the only one I can't stand to drive.
And favorite track?
It'd be easy to tell you what ones I don't like,
Yeah,
but
I have that problem too.
my thing is that I enjoy racing so much, and for me being on iRacing, uh, every time I sign on here, when it's not a league race, I kind of feel like a kid in a candy store because there's so much to do and so much that you can do. I don't know what to do first sometimes. But definitely love the short tracks. I want to make Slinger my favorite because it's currently the closest track that iRacing has to being a home track for me. So I do a lot of AI races there, just for that simple fact. Um, Otherwise, probably Nashville Fairgrounds is one of my favorites for the short tracks. Um, the bigger tracks, NASCAR tracks, I do enjoy the super speedway racing, even though it's frustrating. Um, but even with them, the short tracks like Bristol and Martinsville are also very fun to race on as well.
Right. I remember in the beginning of iRacing, there wasn't a whole lot to choose from, and now when a person logs on, you have a decision to make. There's so many options, so many styles of racing, and so many styles of tracks. It's unbelievable, really. We used to complain we didn't have anything. Now we've got too much.
Yep, definitely. And even though I'm not much of a road racer, I will say that every once in a while I'll take one of those sports cars and hit the road course by myself. And really, it's very relaxing. I don't stay on the track very much, uh, because I'm kind of looking around and I'm not good at road racing anyways. But
If it's relaxing, Joe, you're not doing it right.
it's one of those kind of like taking a country drive, Only this
Right.
one
Yeah.
doesn't cost me any fuel.
Yeah. You actually feel like you're going somewhere, right? So outside of iRacing, you race any other sims?
Not any other Sims, but there are a couple of other leagues that I'm involved in. Matt Hoos is the People's League. I'm involved in that. We do dirt racing on Sunday night, and then we pick a car on Wednesday nights, and that can go both asphalt and dirt. So one week we do the asphalt, next week it's the dirt, um, and that's just a lot of fun. I mean, I'm god awful on dirt, but it's just fun. If I was to compare it to something in real life, it's kind of like a group of guys that have way too much time and money on their hands. They go run a track and have fun for an hour. Is kind of what that league's like. Then another league that I'm a part of, 204 Team Racing. They do leagues on Tuesday nights and Thursday nights. Tuesday nights is late models. They do a late model dash with heat racing and a 35 lap feature race. And then, similar to Bootleg, they do another one after that that's 100 laps. Only we get a set of tires in that one. And they force a pit stop by only giving us a half a fuel tank. So yeah, we kind of go all out in that one. And then Thursday nights they do Legends, which is another dash with heat racing. and a 30 lap feature race, and then they do tour mods after that. But the tour mod's not doing very well, so we've been talking about changing it up to something different.
Tour mod's a whole different animal. Any other computer games that you like to play or mess around?
Um, well, there's I got quite a few of them now. Pool, golf, and the biggest one that I've rediscovered lately is Roller Coaster Tycoon. Um, that has a whole community that I had no idea ever existed, and so I've been building these massive parks with all kinds of wild scenery of stage concerts and uh, just it's hard to describe. We'll have to get some pictures or video or something of it. But just um, great roller coaster rides with all kinds of detail that the game didn't provide before. But now all these people have made scenery pieces and have added to it. Um, so that's been my biggest thing. It's why I haven't been golfing as much. But I need to get back to golfing though.
Yes, you do. Um, Somebody mentioned recently about hopping on a roller coaster with the virtual reality headset on, and they said it didn't work out too well. I can't remember who it was.
Well, I wouldn't recommend it because
No,
like I've never been big on roller coasters. I went on them, I had fun on them, but it wasn't like, I'd see a roller coaster and I had to get on it, or I'd look for the most extreme roller coaster out there. No, 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 no. That's not me. Uh, but I have seen all kinds of first person point of view of roller coasters, especially the new ones. And I tell you what, I'm not wearing a headset or anything, but just watching it on a computer screen, when it goes over that first hill and you're looking straight down at it, I mean, even my stomach just gets into a knot for a moment.
yeah, I don't think I could do that anymore. I loved it as a kid, but I don't think my body would handle it. Um, you mentioned golf. I know for a fact. I'm sure you meant you hadn't been playing the virtual tournaments every week because I know you've been playing live golf. Tell us about playing weekly simulated golf with me and a few old timers from BRL.
We have a blast. One of the best nights of the week. Sitting there and all of us just kind of BSing as we're playing golf. I'm not winning as often though as I used to. I gotta do
That's
something
okay, Joe.
about
That's
that.
okay, Joe.
um, but the games are always close though, and that's what makes it the most fun. It's just one bad swing away that can be the difference between winning the game and losing the game, and that's what makes it most exciting.
Yeah, I said old timers. I should probably name them since I called them old. But usually it's you, me, Mike Holloway, Donnie Moore, and what's that other old guy's name? Matt Hoos. Uh, Most weeks I mean, what, 2 times a week we play live. It is a lot of fun and it is always close. Quite often we end up in a tiebreaker. So, uh, yeah. Now I know you recently had back surgery. How's that working for you now? And has it affected? I'm sure it's affected life, but has it affected your sim racing at all?
No, hasn't affected the sim racing a whole lot. In fact, I was surprised that I was back sim racing a week after surgery. I did not
Right.
expect to be back that quick, and I wasn't going to. Uh, Trying to think of how to explain this without getting into too much detail. Um, After the surgery, they basically had a drain in me, which made things extremely uncomfortable. And I want to say is about less than a week later, they took that drain out. And once they took that drain out, uh, just instantly I started healing, getting better. Um, I was able to move around more, and that's really the reason why I came back so quick. If I had still had that drain in come race night, I probably wouldn't have raced that night. Um, but now here it is. What 8 months later? Yeah, um, and I'm 100% healed. pretty much back to normal life. I know when I can push it and when I can't. What's nice is that when I'm pushing it, I start getting a tightness in my back, and that's kind of my warning to quit doing what I'm doing. Because if I don't, then the pain's gonna start catching in, and so I have that nice warning there. Um, I've even gotten back into bowling a little bit. Bowled a couple of times with my kids, uh, and surprisingly, my back didn't hurt at all. After that, I thought for sure the next day I wasn't going to be able to get out of bed.
Yeah, I've not had back surgery, and I don't think I could go bowling.
Um, but yeah, so things are pretty much back to normal. Back to doing everything around the house, yard work, stuff like that. Um, Working on getting a job, trying to become a school bus driver. Um, Struggling with that CDL test, but we're getting it. So yeah, that's pretty much how everything's been going with the back.
Yeah. So you mentioned it. You seem to be ahead of me on my questions, but you, I know you had this hobby of bowling in the past. I think maybe you might have won a few awards. Tell us about your bowling hobby.
Well, I had been bowling since I was about 4 years old. Um, I bowled from that age up until oh man, I don't remember when it was the first time I quit. Um, I want to say it was early 2000s, like maybe 2001, 2002, somewhere around in there. And really, all it was affordability. I just couldn't afford it anymore. Um, and then I got a job at a local bowling center, a very very small one, and the owner got me back into bowling. Really paid for me to bowl in leagues, and all the awards that I got really spanned from that time. He got me into it. I want to say it was around 2004. Uh, yeah, 2004. I got back into it and bowled up until 2011. In that time, I had five 300 games, an 800 series, countless 299, 279 games. Um, Won several league championships during that time. A couple of them were for scratch leagues, and a couple of them were for handicap leagues as well.
Man, that's a lot of. That sounds like a lot of fun. Was it like a regional deal connected with what's it called, PBA, or was it local stuff?
No, it was all local stuff, but it was all sanctioned under USBC. Um, and at the time, you could only get, like, for example, a 300. You can shoot as many 300s a year as you wanted, but you only got one ring for it. One of my plaques, I shot two 300s that year, but I only got the one plaque, but it's got both dates on that one plaque. When I shot my sixth 300, which was after I quit for 5 years, there's a bit of a story behind that 300. By that time, they had already passed the once in a lifetime rule, meaning that if you had a 300 and you got a ring for it, it don't matter how many 300s you shoot the rest of your life, you will never get another ring for it, which is kind of stupid. In fact, it's why I don't bowl sanctioned now, because I've won every award that there is to win, and so now, no matter what I accomplish, I'll never get another award for it.
Well, that could be a lot of rings, right? You haven't
Oh
got
yeah,
that many fingers, I don't think.
no, but you put them up on display just like
Right.
anything else.
Yep. Well, Joe, this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate you coming on and taking the time to let us get to know you a little bit. So, anything you want to roll out of here with? Maybe like help Bill Suit Zahn come up with a nickname for you. Maybe he seems to be having trouble with that.
Well, we talk about my bad luck on track, which also follows me in life, but I also have good luck on track every once in a while too. Um, like this past Saturday night, there were a few wrecks in that late mile race that I was able to avoid. Unfortunately, at the end on the last lap, I got kind of beaten around like a ping pong ball. Not at anybody's fault. It was just one of those. Somebody got loose. We all got bunched up, and yeah. But it kind of reminds me of an old show that wasn't on the air for very long about a guy that he was just lucky. Good luck, bad luck. He'd walk into a police station. The police station would catch on fire. He'd buy a lottery ticket, and it was a $50,000 winner. Just kind of like stuff. So you could always call me Lucky Joe. Whether it's good luck or bad luck, it's still luck.
That's right. That's right. If it wasn't for bad luck, you wouldn't have any at all, right?
Sometimes it gets to the point where I'd rather have no luck.
Right. All right. Well, thanks again for chatting with us today, and hope to see you back on here in the future.
Absolutely. Anytime you guys want me on here, I'm more than willing to.
All right. That's Joe Segalla on VGN Weekly. All right. Coming up, VGN will be hanging out with the Bootleg Racing League for a doubleheader on Saturday night, September 14th, live from Five Flags Speedway. This will be the season finale for both invitational series. The modifieds will fire off at 7:40 p.m. Eastern Time, followed by the late models at 9:10 p.m. You don't want to miss these. There is a close points battle brewing in both series, and we may not know who the champion is until the checkered flags wave. So please join us next Tuesday at 9 a.m. for another episode of VGN Weekly. Next week's guest will be BRL racer Trey Bloom. Please like and subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of our broadcasts. If you are a league owner and have a broadcasting need, please visit us at virtualgrip.net for info on how to get in touch with us. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.